All right, good evening. It is April 3rd, Charlotte Rink Building Initiative. We had a meeting last week and we rarely go back to back, but we had some updates to share, so we held on to this one. We'll be back to our every other week schedule moving forward. Probably not seen on the video footage. There's a couple people joining audio only. We have Eric Levine and Eric Levine, right? Is that how you say it, Eric? Levigne?
It just can of worms, we'll say.
All right. Well, we'll let the audience fill in their own name for you. How about that?
Yeah.
And then Phil's name's pretty straightforward. Phil Kolb. Got it. Let me touch upon the agenda. I like when we show up with an agenda, make sure we hit what we need to hit. Well, I had it open. It's not open anymore. First order of business is we met with a second vendor for the Waymer Park renovations. So we got some updates to share with that. Eric and I felt it absolutely necessary to do a League Cup reflection. We just had that tournament yesterday, and would love to share a few thoughts about that, past, present, and future. We have a board meeting this week, so I want to touch upon, tease a few things that are coming out that we'll be talking about and voting upon, and then just a couple of recap things, kind of an oxymoron, but recap of future things from our last rink building meeting with some future events that we want to make sure people have circled on their calendars. So without further ado, I just thought of one more thing. We got the golf event. I want to make sure that we hit on that as well. Huntersville court update, nothing crazy to share other than we met with a vendor that was really interesting. They're the vendor that does all the dasher boards for the NHL and several other professional leagues. I think we talked to the owner. I don't know that for sure, actually, but just the way he was talking and carrying himself, it was pretty awesome to make that connection, because we might be in touch with him down the road with other projects that we have in the pipeline. But I think we kind of realized it was not a good fit for this particular project, which is what we were looking for, just confirmation that we're quoting the right thing. Again, we're looking at that pro wall material from a vendor that does that for other rinks that actually we've played at. Well, we haven't played at the type of rinks that in New Jersey, for example, they are the vendor, but it was a different type of material that the boards were made of. But this vendor is the same vendor that has other capabilities with the pro wall. The pro wall is the product, if anybody wants to look that up. Anyways, that's agenda item number one. We have a follow-up meeting with Huntersville Parks and Rec next week to take next steps with that vendor. There's a few final details we're working through. For example, getting specific on the dimensions now, so this is probably a good sign. We're looking to keep the integrity of the basketball courts, move those courts to the outside of the rink. And with that is coming our corner talk, because our corners to the hockey rink are cutting off some dimensions of the three-point line and a little bit of the just the edge there. So we just want to make sure we get that right, cut off as least as possible. And what that means is lessening the radius of our corners, which is not ideal, but if it's what we got to do, then it's what we got to do. But anyways, that is progressing. Again, mid-May is what we've been told. So, I mean, we got to get this order in pretty soon so that they can start manufacturing and shipping and et cetera, so that that project can start on time. The good news is that the tennis court has to be paved first. So that's even before any of this has to go down. So brief pause. That is agenda item number one, update on Waymer Park construction.
Yeah, and just to touch on the corners, you're correct that we don't want to take off that much of the basketball courts. I'm on the other side of the fence where I'm just saying, screw it. It's our facility now. We should be able to, like, if we're making a hybrid hockey rink, so we should turn this into a hybrid basketball court where you don't really get the full length. But we'll see what happens. It's obviously all in Huntersville's hands, especially considering that they're paying for the thing. So we have to not exactly do what they say, but like follow their directive. But yeah, I think the good news is, like, there was some, what do you call, aversion to having 20-foot radiuses for the corners, which is like, it would be a nice little curvature. Tom Ward and I measured it, and doesn't look like it's going to cut off that much. It obviously will take out the corner, the 3-point area, but I don't think it's going to be as bad as it sounded like to Michael J. Cox in Huntersville. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, good additions. Appreciate that, Eric. I was thinking a bit like that too. I actually sent them an email that pushed a little bit, because you're right, we don't have a lot to say because it is their project. But I mentioned a couple rink building meetings ago that I see this as a hockey court first. We can finally not call it a basketball court or a tennis court. It's a hockey court. on which basketball can be played. So we'll see. It's not like any regulation games or tournaments get played there for basketball. So that's why I don't feel as, people use it to shoot around, so they can still do that regardless of if one of the 3-point lines is cut off on the side there. All right, number 2. I want to talk about League Cup because there's some details to share. I'll let Eric share the majority of this. I guess what I want to share about my portion here is that we were looking to model a couple other sports organizations. English soccer or European soccer is the first example that comes to mind for me, but it's meant to mix up and just have a different variety of how we schedule a tournament, and having people play against each other that don't normally play against each other. We had certain rules that may have been able to be better communicated or clearer. Then there's even a process or two that Eric will talk about of how that probably could have gone better. I also think things went against us when we did the team draw, and every A-League team drew a B-League team. So it kind of set it up like that from the beginning, and it could have gone a whole different way that day. But yeah, I know Eric in particular wants to share a few words, and I'll add in at the end if there's anything else that I might want to add. But go ahead, Eric, take it away.
Yeah, we both agree that like the biggest victory is that we did it. We had the tournament and like we got the first one down. Like the idea behind this tournament wasn't to have like a perfect tournament and be great and amazing, whatever, like the AWC. Like the idea is that it's a traditional thing that you could say it's like an historic tournament, but that's going to take years to get there. It was modeled like it, and at the end of the day, like that's the main thing. So that the victory was having it, and then the other thing too is like it was like Tom Ward and I kind of thought about it. Like it was kind of our brainchild, but I was the one like running point on it and like pushing the direction where I thought it should go. And like, so any shortcomings, any disorganization, any chaos, any of that nonsense, that's all on me. And I really appreciate everyone trying to give it a go. And I'm sorry if it turned out kind of shitty. We definitely want to make it better in the future. What I also didn't understand is there was an idea floating around, and the other thing too is I want to send a league-wide email tonight, like a lot of details, and just go through like my thoughts, and I think we could have made it better. One idea that was floating around is that we combine the affiliate teams, and I was like, yeah, that's a good idea, but I think that should be a separate tournament. I didn't understand that people were talking about combining the affiliates and making 2 teams, so you still have an 8-team tournament. That would be dope as hell, and I'm really upset that I didn't understand that it was the idea until the day of. And I thought that would be a perfect compromise sort of thing. Because like at the end of the day, the idea wasn't to inflate A-League egos, and it wasn't to beat down on B-League teams. It was just literally to have all the teams, one pot, one tournament, anybody can win it. I mean, Queen City Crowns, cover your ears, Josh, probably shouldn't have beaten the Pottstown Mud Dogs last year, but we did. And very true underdog fashion, and that it was an incredible story because ball hockey's a strange, funny sport. You get bounces that go a certain way, and amazing things can happen. But yeah, like I said, I'm gonna send an email out to everyone, thanking them for their time. And by the way, speaking of thanking people, I just thought of something while you're going through the agenda. There are a couple people, at least, if not a bunch of people, that like this league wouldn't be possible without. We absolutely need to give a big ass shout out to Alan Azali, whatever his last name is, Azali. Like, yeah, there you go. With it, he texts us at like Thursday. He was like, "Hey, I got a big ass midterm to study for, but I assume you guys need a ref. You need me, I'm in." And it's like just his consistency. Every single week he shows up. We can always rely on him. He's a pretty damn good ref too. He's annoying as hell when you're playing and he's on the court, obviously, and that's exactly what you want. But he's not like a bad ref by any stretch, and he's a really important person to CHL, and I forgot to thank him during the award ceremony, so I'm doing it now. Thank you, Alan, for being the badass that you are, and I appreciate you showing up on this past Sunday.
A big shout out, and there's probably a half dozen or a dozen people that also could be mentioned that are very helpful in that. Eric, thank you for saying that. I want to ask a question that I think is on a lot of people's minds that I'm sure you'll address in the email too, but is good for people to hear as well. What might you say to B-League people who just felt like, what was the point of that? Like, why would I show up and get my teeth kicked in, and I could have been doing something else with my Sunday? Like, what might you say to those people?
That's a good question. because if you know who I am, I have a very, let's say, unique definition and perception of pain and growth. I welcome it probably way too much. So it's absolutely nothing personal. And again, that wasn't the point of the tournament. Like, I don't think any tournament should be built that way. I do think that, like, life will throw you some really incredible challenges, and they're very unfair at times. But I don't want it to be overly unfair, not to, go down a wormhole or rabbit hole or whatever. But there was a good point that was made about how much parity there was in B League last season. Like, it was, really tight right up until the end. And then this season, it was basically a 2-team race. That said, the big challenge that Charlotte's had going into the playoffs, up against this amazing CDI's team, and they overcame and won that game through all the drama and speculation and all the, the fact that it was like one of the best games we've had in a long time. It overcame that challenge, and I was hoping to, recapture some of that spirit. The other couple things I wanted to mention too is how this was supposed to happen on March 5th, like in the middle of the season, but because we'd already ran out 3 weeks at that point, we wanted to use that day as league games, and then worst case we could push it to the end of the season. And maybe the what do you call perception around the tournament might have been received a little bit better, because it would have been a break from regular league play, and it wouldn't be that serious. And it was never supposed to be a very serious competition to begin with. It wasn't supposed to be very competitive. It's just supposed to be something fun and something unique and different to, look forward to. And then by the time, like, we say, okay, let's scrap the League Cup for now, not cancel it, but postpone it, and then we can do it at the end of the season. By the time that rolled around, everyone's, mentally done. It was a long, exhausting season for everybody. It's crazy to think that it started January 15th. Like, we were talking about it last night. Seriously, that's when the season started, January 15th? It's crazy.
Yeah.
And that's, of course, off the heels of the holiday season, and then the season before that, where we did our first A and B league season.
Right.
So it was just a lot, and the timing is bad, and again, the execution is really poor, and that's all on me. And if you're listening to this, you probably know how to get in touch with me. Please get in touch with me and tell me how I could have done this a lot better, because I need to hear it. I know a lot of reasons I could have done this better, but I will absolutely listen to your concerns and criticisms and frustrations, feelings, whatever you got. If you've got praise, save it. I don't need to hear it. I assume you don't have praise, but anyways, I'm rambling a bit too much at this point. Just know that it will be better, and I do love the idea of an affiliates cup where we do have 4 teams and like both affiliates combined, or maybe we have all 5 or affiliates or whatever, or 5 combinations of affiliates. Maybe we could do that at Valentine. That would be cool. And then as far as like making 2 different teams between the 2 affiliates, I think that's a fantastic idea, and I apologize for not understanding that. And then that would have been something great that we could run with.
Yeah. Good timing for me to mention that, because we just had another board member join here, James Forbes.
Forbesy.
James. Yeah, he's in the building. This
What's up, guys?
Hey, how's it going?
Not bad, man. How about you guys?
Good. I was just talking about the League Cup. I know that it was, Eric was driving a lot of it, but we make decisions together as a board and as a group, and we wanted it to be as fun as possible. I think those details to share, Eric, were important about, it was originally scheduled in the middle of the season, had a different feel to it. And then just when it happened, everybody was just like ready to, we had just gone through the gauntlet of CSHL playoffs, and then just to come around and play another tournament. It was somewhat grueling, but either way, it doesn't excuse what happened yesterday. Don't want anybody to feel bad about, just showing up and getting their teeth kicked in. And we thought it would be a fun idea to intermix some new players and get them some playing time. But also maybe that sent the wrong message to people whose team they're playing on, who struggled all year, or wasn't the best year for them. So we're aware of all this. I guess that's the main message here, and we'll do better. We're going to do better. And to Eric's point, I told him that the win was just having it, because it's only going to get better. It will never be like that again, and we'll just keep improving on ideas and ways to tweak it, and it'll settle into this fun thing that we're doing. So anyways, I think that's important to say all that.
Sorry, guys. What did I miss? What happened with the tournament? Like, what was wrong with it?
Just League Cup. We got some feedback, Forbes, from quite a few people of, what was the point of having B League there? A League just happened to draw all the B League teams in the first round, which wasn't planned. but every B League team had a 1-game exit, and the first game went into a shootout, but a lot of people weren't there for that, and maybe showed up after that. But either way, it didn't seem fair to a lot of people, and I certainly understand that.
And let's not forget the Normal Monsters nearly, Forbes probably doesn't forget, but nearly beating the Hooligans. They were 6-6, big old shootout.
Yeah. There's some good games.
I don't see the problem with it though, man, because it was pretty fun, man. It's just to get everybody out there and have a good day of hockey. So
yeah, and I think
that's my point. Like, I don't get it. Like, it's just a fun day to play hockey, man. Let's play hockey. That's my motto. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. I guess just want to keep that perspective of like, if I have no chance to win, because we've all certainly been on those teams, right? Like, can you make fun out of a season or a game where it's probably stacked against you? I like to think yes, but I'm also not in that position. I wasn't in that position this season, so I just want to pay homage to the people that felt that way, and just know that we hear you, and we're gonna make it better. We're gonna make improvements. But yeah, it's the love of the game, right? We're playing hockey out there. Love it.
So was there a lot of feedback on how it went down? Because there was a lot of, to be honest, man, there's a lot of B players playing with A players. There's a lot of A players playing in the B League. You know what I mean? I thought it was a fun day, to be honest.
Yeah. There was a mix. And just like the mix, I think we'll get a mix of experiences. So some people had fun, some people didn't. And hey, that's going to happen too. But, we just want to let people know who didn't have fun that there's a way to improve that process. And we'll think about that, and we'll regroup as a board and do that. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. All right, cool. So that's League Cup. I do want to, it's a good segue into the CSHL board meets on Thursday to finalize a few things as our April board meeting. And we normally don't do this during rink building meeting, but I think this is important to get the message out, and maybe even a few behind the scenes, like how this works. And some people aren't completely aware of what happens behind the scenes to run leagues and to make things happen. So I won't get too into the weeds, but I just want to tease out a few details about some new board positions that we're going to talk about, possibly releasing, some of which will be non-voting, but also could turn into voting positions. The concept of getting more people involved. The most primary position I can think of right now is the social media manager. We have such an opportunity to grow our online presence with the stuff that we're doing and get the word out and the message out. So somebody who's willing to really take that on, maybe even develop a team around them. That'll be a board position. You'll get a say, you'll get a seat at the table, talk about making policies if that's something that you want, like have some influence over how the league is run, or not. If you just want to help out, that's needed too. So there's 3 or 4 positions like that we're going to turn into board positions, or at least talk about. And if you're somebody out there watching this, I always felt like, well, they're not talking to me, right? That's not for me. But this league isn't possible without volunteers and people putting in their time. And if it's something that you want to think about, it's not a crazy strenuous schedule, although it starts to add up sometimes, or it feels like it does. But if you want to contribute, just hit us up, let us know, and we'll find a spot for you, as much or as little as you want to contribute. And just think about it. Just think about that.
Yeah, and I want to double down on what you just said, Josh. Like, this league isn't possible without volunteers. This league is unique and special and incredible because of the passion that we all show for this ridiculous thing. Like, I'm sure all of you have played hockey, like pickup hockey in leagues and places where like it's kind of fun, but like it just feels pedestrian. Like every single time, like that Charlottes and CDI's game was so perfect. Everybody like lined the fence, was so invested. When like Jaden Steckler would touch the ball, everybody just like rose out of their seats, and like you could just feel the ground lift beneath you. Like the entire game was just so intense, and that's all passion. So like regarding the board positions, yes, we are talking to you. If you have a passion about anything, you don't have to fit the position exactly, but if you want to get involved, if you want to be involved, if you already are, don't hesitate to reach out.
Very well said. Appreciate that. So yeah, a few other things about the board meeting that we'll be talking about. So I think this verbiage will become clear before the end of the week, but how we might present the upcoming spring league, which we might call summer league, just because of when it's going to end. It'll be funny to the season going into June and July, we still call it spring league. So I think we need to call it summer league. But that it's a pickup league, and maybe our other league started like that, Huntersville, but it's developed into a little bit something more than that. This feels genuinely like a pickup league where we know it's just going to be for a season at this rink. You know, hey, maybe we extend beyond that, but we know that we're returning to Huntersville. So this has that pickup feel. Not that it's not going to be competitive, but we're bringing fun back to the primary, the top of the list there, and it's just going to be a fun league. We're going to have a fun league, and details will be released hopefully by Friday of this week at the latest. But yeah, we're excited about that. We're excited to put those final details during our board meeting on Thursday.
Very excited. I'm excited about everything.
Yeah, we got some good things happening. I got some more things behind this that I'll be sharing. But one other thing I wanted to mention, and I'll bring up during the board meeting, is the youth tournament reschedule. So there might be a handful of people who were disappointed by that call, but it rained pretty good this past Saturday. It always rains on Saturday. It's unbelievable. But one of the things we're talking about is rescheduling the youth tournament for Saturday morning, May 6th. And the reason is because that is going to be such a monumental day for Charlotte ball hockey in general, with the exhibition game of the Queen City Crowns versus the Charlotte Rise. We want to invite the youth program out there and to have the kids see what we're building and what they can be a part of someday. And we're going to have, invite some other key people to attend that game. And I think it would be cool to stack the youth tournament in front of that and finish around 12:30, 1 o'clock, and then just have them stick around for warm-ups and watch the game if they want to. So that has the potential to be a really great day for both youth and adult for Charlotte ball hockey in general. So we haven't finalized that yet, but that's one date that we're looking at, and we're kind of leaning in that direction. Just to throw that out there.
I agree, man. I agree. That's a great date to kind of finalize the kids before the adults, because we're building this program for the kids. You know what I mean? So everybody gets to see what they can move forward to. You know what I mean? What they can develop to, and what they can love, man, about hockey. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And if you're considering like coming out, you don't have to volunteer for the youth tournament, but and if you're listening, I highly encourage you to come out and watch the kids play hockey, because especially if you're an adult, because it's very easy to forget how much fun it was playing hockey when you're a kid, and like the kids show that absolutely when they're playing. So it's a whole different type of love with them.
It's all about the love for hockey, man. All about the love for hockey.
Yep. Absolutely. So yeah, we're excited about that. So we'll have news about that by the end of the week here. But anyways, yeah, we'll have another. Those were just 3 of the agenda items that we'll talk about, and there's going to be a handful more that we discuss as a group there. So yeah, the last part here is that I just want to tease out some future stuff. We mentioned the NBHL exhibition game, so let's just start there. The Rise versus the Crowns. Of course, that's the expansion of our NBHL presence as a Charlotte ball hockey group. 2 teams this year, and we schedule a fun exhibition day for May 6th to put the talent on display, have a little friendly, and also to get some reps in before we start the Carolina division this year, which is May 21st. And I just want to give a shout out to Coach Steckler. So Mike Steckler is the coach of the Charlotte Rise. And he and I, we talk a lot, and just about the future and the vision of what Charlotte ball hockey is growing into. Like we just mentioned, with the youth, up to our adult leagues, up to our NBHL, basically affiliates. So just exciting to have that vision, what this could be. This is what this rink building initiative is all about, is providing more infrastructure to what we're building. And while the Waymer Park court will be a huge feather in our cap and a way for us to grow and move forward more efficiently, there's also some bigger plans that we still have our eyes on, with actually acquiring land and building 2 beautiful rinks to make Charlotte be a destination for hockey in the South. So anyway, Saturday, May 6th, and shout out to Coach Steckler. And, we'll be pushing that more and more as we get closer. We're almost a month away. It's very hard to believe, just a month away. Along with that, the week following is Matthews Beach Fest. If you're watching on YouTube here, I'm going to pull up a little promo. So it's nice to add a little visual here. The dates on that are Friday, May 12th and Saturday, May 13th. And the idea is that we have secured a spot. I believe it's a 10 by 10 booth area at Matthews Beach Fest. If you're not familiar with that, huge celebration in the street with a bunch of vendors and just like hundreds, if not thousands of people walking through, just having a good time, having drinks. It's a family event, at least early on in the night. Kids will be out, and we're going to have a booth. We're probably going to bring a whole bunch of hockey gear and get the word out about Charlotte Street Hockey. It's a big deal for us. We made some inroads with Matthews Parks and Rec, and have some eyes on some parks that they have undeveloped that maybe we can throw our hat in the ring for development opportunities down the road. So anyways, a big deal for us. What I want to tease out is, so that event is on Friday and Saturday, May 12th and 13th. We have scheduled a volunteers, like all hands on deck meeting for Tuesday, May 2nd. That day may change, but I will let everybody know if it does. But right now, 7 p.m. Tuesday, May 2nd. And the reason that we need all hands on deck is because it is I think it's like 4 or 6 hours Friday night. And then it's like a 10 or 12-hour day on Saturday. So obviously we can't have the same volunteers manning the tent for all those hours. And we need CSHL representatives that can, represent the league well and just stand there and talk to people and have conversations about the game that we love, ball hockey, and just give people more information. We'll have flyers, we'll have banners out there, we'll have maybe a net, sticks, and the ball just for people to have fun walking by. So anyways, May 2nd, Tuesday, May 2nd at 7 p.m. is that meeting. And I'll find a way to get the link or to share that link with people. And if you're interested in joining that, just let us know.
I already got my kids involved, man. They want to be helping out, showing people how to shoot the ball. So
That's
I'm
great.
there.
Nice.
Yeah, I love it. It's a nice touch. All right, and the last event for me to tease out, and Forbes, I need, you and I need to get serious about pushing this here. So Friday, April 28th is our CSHL golf event at Warrior Golf Club in China Grove. It is purposely a Friday. We're trying to give enough notice for you to make accommodations to take that day off. The shotgun start at 10 a.m. and we got some cool things that we're planning on sharing. And it's always a good time to get together with golf people and have a good time golfing, and then maybe a raffle, and we'll do a few prizes afterwards and just have a few drinks celebrating CSHL and what we're building here. So I know that's going to be on us before we know it, but that's Friday, April 28th at the end of this month here. And with that being said, nice and tight, we had a ton of agenda items to hit here and breeze through them pretty quickly. That's all that I have, unless anybody else has anything else, any other questions, comments, things to share? You guys are going to make it easy?
Not here. A lot of good stuff going on. Thanks, Josh.
Absolutely. Did you keep up with all that, Phil? Was that fast enough?
That was a lot, but it was good. No, you did a great job, and Eric as well there. Thanks, guys.
Good. All right, guys. Thanks for joining. Have a good rest of your night, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks for this same meeting again.